I'll forever be grateful because curling has given me more than just the wins on the ice. It's changed me as a human being, changed me as a person, and given me more confidence than I ever thought I'd have.
Back on Closer Look, and we made it to Friday. It's August the 22nd. Full disclosure, you and I upstairs the last half hour on YouTube watching some of the greatest shots in curling, courtesy of Jennifer Jones.
Yes, and what kickstarted all that, that's not a curling term, I know, but what kickstarted it all was, her new autobiography is out, Rockstar.
Yes, my life on and off the ice.
Yeah, it comes out in a few days. And, of course, she's credited with arguably getting the greatest shot ever in curling history. And so I vaguely remembered it, but I wanted to YouTube it. Amazingly, you can find all this stuff on YouTube. Have you ever been? YouTube's
this whole internet thing, it's going to stick.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now. Apparently.
I know. Yes, we are. Yeah, at Closer Look Podcast.
Yeah. But this shot, I won't be able to explain it at all because I don't know.
No.
But she basically hit... Anyways, go on YouTube and watch it. But it was a phenomenal shot.
She hit a rock. It went to another rock. It
hit another rock, and she left hers in the house, or the button, whatever it's called, and that was she
won. Have you ever curled, by the way?
I've never curled.
Okay.
I have a funny curling story I'll share with you.
I know. Maybe we'll save that for after.
Okay, yeah, we'll save it. But the point of all this is Jennifer Jones is joining us today to talk about her new book and talk about her amazing career. And I always say I sound like a broken record. Even saying I sound like a broken record is sounding like a broken record. But that's what I love about this show. We talk about great and we talk about important issues, but we also have these really fascinating guests on this show. When you think of just the list we've had in the last few weeks since we've kind of launched the new daily format, Jennifer Jones is a legend.
Yes.
She's one of the best curlers who ever lived, will remain that way forever.
Yep.
She's just an amazing athlete and did so much for women's curling in the world, and not just this country, but around the world. She helped grow that sport like crazy. And to be able to sit down and chat with her about her experiences will be awesome.
Well, she's an Olympic champion, world champion, multiple Scotties champion, a lawyer, mom, wife, and now we can add author to that list. Jennifer Jones joining us tonight on a Closer Look. Jennifer, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I got to start with this, but before we get into the questions, there is nobody more excited that you're on this show tonight than Margie Turner. She is the mother of our producer, Derek. She was thrilled to hear that you were joining us.
Hi, Margie. Thank you. I hope maybe we can meet in person one day.
Awesome. Great stuff. Jen, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. Lots to talk about tonight, including obviously an incredible career, but let's start with the book, Rockstar, My Life on and Off the Ice, available through HarperCollins, by the way. What made you to decide that now was the right time to write it?
I think it was just I had decided to retire, which was a really big decision. It was actually really a lot harder than I thought it would. I thought one day I just would never want to curl again. I'd just be done. And that never happened to me. So I was just kept going. And then I decided to retire, and they reached out to see if I would be interested in writing a book. And I had always said I wanted to write a book, and it just seemed like perfect timing. The stories were still fresh in my mind, and it allowed me to kind of reminisce over the first year of being retired, which actually made retirement a lot easier. I got to reminisce about all the stories and the great times and realized that I was, in fact, ready to retire. I had such a great career and so many great memories that will last a lifetime.
Well, let's talk about those stories and that process. Did you find it therapeutic, emotional? Was it difficult at times?
Everything, actually. It was a little bit of everything. It was harder at times than I thought it would be. Definitely emotional, especially with memories of my dad. My dad had such an impact on my curling career, and thinking back to the moments he brought us to the curling club for the first time. But I didn't want it to just be a curling recollection stories of like what we did in the ninth end of the Canadian final. I wanted it to be more of why I went into curling, about the trials and the tribulations behind the scenes, the excitement, the joys, the fun, the laughs. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what it's about. And so those are the memories that I cherish the most. As much as standing on top of the podium is, it's unbelievable and it's something that you always want. It's all those extra little special moments that created and shaped my life. And that's what I share in the book.
I think what a lot of fans will look forward to is reading the fact that like themselves, we're all vulnerable in some ways. There's personal battles that you talk about in the book, right, that you've endured, including the fact that you really had to push yourself past, being severely introverted as you described, right? To get comfortable with being in the spotlight. How do you overcome that, Jennifer? And I guess, what lessons can your story teach other people who go through that?
I don't know if you ever overcome that. I think it's just a part of who you are, but I think you learn to accept it and embrace it. And I think the fans helped me, and just how they embraced us and made you feel accepted for who you were, and just really understanding how to be authentic. And I knew I was shy. I knew I was introverted, but finally, after a long time, many years, I just accepted who I was, and I was okay with who I was. And, no matter what the media said, and you go through times where the media is super friendly to times when the media is not very friendly. And, as an amateur athlete, I curled because I loved it. You didn't curl for the spotlight. And then all of a sudden you're in the spotlight, and it's hard to embrace as an introverted person, all of a sudden having a very public life. So it took a while, but then finally, I think the kids really helped, because they love you for who you are, and you surround yourself with people who love you for who you are. And then you kind of decide that everything else is just noise. And it really did help me enjoy life more fully than I would have before. Like I put myself out there a lot more. I experienced things that I never thought I would. And so curling, I'll forever be grateful, because curling has given me more than just the wins on the ice. It's changed me as a human being, changed me as a person, and given me more confidence than I ever thought I'd have.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned Dad obviously being an inspiration, but
Yes.
How did you get into the sport? How did it all start?
My dad. Yeah, for sure. My dad. He grew up at the curling club. He curled. His family really couldn't afford hockey at the time, so he curled. And so he was like volunteer of the year, I think, every year that we were growing up. And he was always at the St. Vital Curling Club, which meant we were always at the St. Vital Curling Club. And our daycare was there. I met Santa Claus at the St. Vital Curling Club for the first time. It was just a big part of our life. And my dad was very involved in sports, and I was definitely interested in sports as a kid. And so I did everything: volleyball, basketball, baseball. But curling was a place where I actually felt like I belonged. It was a small team. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I was a skip, so I could go off and be on my own sometimes. And it was actually the first time in my life that I really felt like I belonged, and that I accepted, and that I was home. So it was a love at first sight for me, and the rest is kind of history.
Was there a moment as a young curler where you really realized, hey, I am pretty good at this, and I can do this?
Honestly, I never even thought that. Like, I remember when I was 16, Jill Staub at the time, now Jill Thurston, she asked me to play third for her. And I couldn't even believe that somebody would want me to curl with them. Like, I just thought that was unbelievable. And we went on and we won the provincials, and we went to the Canadians. And like I said, I started curling because I loved it. I felt good about myself when I was curling. And then all of a sudden you're in these moments and people tell you, you have potential, and you start to believe it yourself. But I never lost the love of the game. Like, I never lost that smell of the ice and going in the rink. And so that's why I did it. And then, fortunately for me, I surrounded myself with incredible teammates, and we had so many laughs and fun times, but we also got a few wins along the way.
That's an understatement. You've had some legendary moments.
Just a couple.
Just a couple. Including what many to believe the greatest shot in the history of the game to win the 2005 Scotties. In fact, Frisco and I were upstairs watching it just before we came down. And I said to him, I got to ask Jennifer, what the hell's with all the yelling? Why are they always yelling at each other? That aside, when you look back at your career, what moment sticks out the most to you?
It's hard. Like, obviously that moment is such a big moment. There's a whole chapter in the book devoted to that shot, because it's what kickstarted our career, my career. Yeah. The girls that I played with had already had some success, but it kickstarted it all. And it was a moment where I felt like I let my teammates down. I didn't play great that game. And then finally we have this chance to win, and we make it on the most dramatic shot. My dad was our coach. It was like this crazy moment. And I remember after that shot, I thought, here I am. I love curling more than anything. It's given me so much. And now we're going to be forever remembered in the sport that you love. And like, that was bigger than the shot itself or winning, just to know that curling, which has given me so much, maybe we gave a little bit back. And so that's kind of what started it all. And even with the pleated pants and everything, the tucked in shirts, you look back, that shot's shown over and over again. But it really made me believe that maybe we were good enough. Like, maybe I was good enough to do this. And so that was the first of kind of dreaming bigger than I ever thought I'd dream. And so I think that moment stands out. But then having said that, the world championships that we had in Canada, like, wow, like playing in front of the Canadian crowd, I can't even describe it. In North Bay, I remember making a shot in the ninth end, and the crowd was so loud that my bones were vibrating. Like, who gets to experience that, right? And so in Canada, playing in Canada World Championship, and we won those, which was incredible. But I mean, then you go to the Olympics, and the Olympics is just another. It's just another beast on its own. I don't want to call it a beast because it's a beautiful beast. It's like the beast. Most. Yep. It's so like. You're just this multi-sport. You feel like you're part of the bigger Team Canada. And we went there and we played our very best in the biggest stage. It's what every athlete dreams of. We've never played better. And we went on and we got to stand on the podium, the top of the podium for the Olympics, and hear the national anthem. And when that national anthem is played, oh, it's more than I ever dreamed. And like, I remember watching the Olympics when I was a kid, Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics, and watching those athletes singing their anthem, thinking, wow, like how lucky they were. And there we were. So I can't pick one. And I do think too, like the last, my last game, having our daughters there, having them cry because it was over, thinking, you know, the impact that curling has made in their life, and hopefully something they remember forever. So curling has given me so much that I just don't think it's just justice to give it one moment, because there's so many.
I've always wondered this, elite athletes like yourself, do you sometimes in quiet moments click on YouTube like we do and watch your old shots just to reminisce about how amazing it was?
I used to when I was younger, but now it's funny because our daughters are so into curling. They watch all the old shots, so I don't have to anymore. And they usually watch all of ours and they'll call me over. But you know, I used to when I was younger for sure, and I haven't in a while. Maybe I should.
You should.
It is a feel good.
Watch that one from the Scotties. It was pretty. It was something. Yeah.
Jennifer, you talk about representing Canada at the Worlds and certainly at the Olympics. Describe the feeling and the pressure of you're not obviously representing a town or a city; it's an entire country, and so few of us will ever experience that. So, what is that like?
It's the biggest honor that you could ever have. Like, I'll never forget getting my first, actually every single Canadian jacket with your name on the back and the maple leaf. It just feels surreal. Like you never felt like you were, you know, you were kind of deserved it in a way. And you get this jacket, and it comes with it does come with a lot of pressure. And I don't like to say pressure because it's what you work for. But if you're not only letting yourself down or your teammates down, you feel like you're letting your country down. And there's this sense of pride. And I've never, ever lost the fact that the fans are what make curling so spectacular. Like, I had dreams of being, you know, an Olympic champion, let's say. But the fans made it so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. The support you got, the excitement they had, like people telling me where they were when we won the Olympics. And that's what made it even bigger than you could have ever imagined. So when you're out there and you're representing Canada and representing those incredible people, you don't want to let them down. And whether it's shot making on the ice or how you act off the ice, and you want to make sure that you're setting a good example and also letting everyone know that you're grateful for the opportunity. And we always were grateful for the opportunity.
And let's be honest, there's nothing like curling fans. They're just a unique breed of their own. I mean, I was fortunate. Yeah. I covered the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, and I covered curling. I didn't do a great job because I didn't know the sport as well as I should have. But the fans blew my mind. They were unbelievable. Yeah. They didn't stop chanting. It was wild. The costumes.
Yeah, it was I covered the 2010
Oh, I should have came to you for advice. Sports. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So we were on that media bench together eating the same food every day, like every single day.
That's right.
But no, the fans are special, and they're very diehard. Like curling fans, they sit and they watch the entire game. And I think one thing that's special about curling is that we wear microphones. You feel like you get to know our innermost thoughts, which actually you do. Sometimes you forget, and we don't wear helmets, so you know who we are. Like, you feel like we're friends, and that's what people will run up to me in the grocery store and say, I know you. And I'm like, do you watch curling? They're like, oh yeah, because it just feels like we're a part of their group, right? And that's what's special about it. It really is special.
Can I ask you do you have to remind yourself when you go out with those microphones on? Okay, because no other sport is mic'd up as far as they don't mic up the baseball players or the football players, right?
Sometimes you do, yeah. Like, especially in the moment, like you kind of just speak your mind, or, the camera, like the other team might be throwing, so you don't think the camera's on you, and you think you have this moment in time where it's just between you and whoever you're talking to, but it never is. And a game is 3.5 hours. A lot of players go to the washroom, so you always have to remember those moments as well. So it's what makes it special. So you wouldn't want to change it. I think it's what makes the broadcast very interesting.
Jennifer, you've balanced being an athlete, a mom, a lawyer, and now an author. How do you find time for all of it?
It has its moments, but I have this motto of just being in the moment, enjoy the moment, be where your feet are. And so even when, you're busy and things are hectic, I try to be present with what I'm doing. And I don't like to use the word balancing, because that always makes you feel like you're failing, because it's so hard to balance everything all the time. But if you're just in the moment, enjoying what you're doing, life is going to be great.
Jennifer, you've done so much to help grow the sport of women's curling, right? And even the evolution of women's sports in general, especially over the last couple of years, has really been unbelievable to watch, whether it's the popularity of the WNBA, the new Professional Women's Hockey League. How gratifying is that for you to see and know that you're a big part of that?
When somebody says that have some sort of a small part in the growth of women's sport, it's really truly the biggest compliment you could give me. And we have 2 daughters, and they love sports. I want them to have every opportunity, and the fact that women's curling has really grown over the last 20 years, and I feel like we got to play during the evolution of the game, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's super humbling, and I hope that I had just a small positive impact for years to come.
Okay, we're going to put you on the spot here. Besides yourself, of course, who is the single best curler you've ever seen? Give us one man, one woman.
Well, I'm married to one, so Brent Lang.
Good answer.
Good answer.
And I have to go with Sandra Schmirler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was just a legend and just an all-around incredible human.
And how do you have that last name? It's just perfect. Schmirler the curler.
Well, I'm Colleen Jones, really.
Yeah.
Jones is, right? So.
Exactly. I have to ask you this as well. We talked about being an elite athlete, and now you've gone on to do analyst work as well and be a broadcaster. Are there moments where you have to bite your lip sometimes when you're watching? I've always wondered this about the great ones like yourself, right? Because you're watching it now and you're thinking, that was a terrible shot. I could have done that in my sleep. How do you hold back?
Sometimes I'm a rookie broadcaster, so sometimes I bite my tongue. I mean, I know all these athletes and I respect them so much, but I think it's a broadcaster's job to say what you're thinking. So I'm trying to get a little bit more bold, we'll say, and trying to maybe kind of say a little bit more what I'm thinking. So that's my challenge for this year. We'll see if I can do it.
All right, just don't tell us what you really think about this show. Then we'll be okay. Right,
I love it.
Another good answer. Jen, you've done a lot of things. You're obviously not complacent, but what's next for you?
Well, I'm going to do a book tour, so we're going to do that over the next little while, and I'm still working as a lawyer, so keeping myself busy. But the biggest thing I want to do is cheer on my girls as they compete in curling and gymnastics and dance and do their fun things. I want to be that mom with the pom-poms front and center, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
Great. All right, awesome. The book is called Rockstar: My Life on and Off the Ice. It is out August 26th through HarperCollins, and very appropriately named because you are indeed that. Jennifer Jones, thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, one thing is for certain. Jennifer Jones is an absolute rock star, but you and I, let's get this show, as they say, across the hog line.
Yeah, I had to refresh my memory on the curling.
That's all I know. Hog line and house. Yeah. After that, I'm out.
Yeah. No, I love the honesty. You can see the emotion in her face.
The button.
Yeah,
something about the button. That's
the button's
middle.
the small circle. The house is the larger circle. And
Jennifer's at home right now watching this, just shaking her head like those two morons.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
She's probably thinking that she was in the interview.
She thought that before the interview.
Yeah. No, but to be totally truthful, you could see the emotion in her face, right?
Yeah.
Just reminiscing about these times. She really values. That I almost had tears when she talked about the smell of the ice, right?
Yes.
It's those things that when you really get to deep down and talk to athletes, especially the elite athletes who do their sport so well, it's so easy to forget that they're human beings, right? We watch them on TV, and she mentioned it too, that sometimes she would take heat from the media
for sure.
They're still playing, and I'm not criticizing the media. There's amazing sports journalists in this country that do an amazing job covering the sports they do. But being the athlete is beyond anything we can ever comprehend. To be that good at that sport, and the work that goes into it, and the training and the mindset you have to be in to be able to, that's kind of what separates the great ones from the ones who don't make it. Is you can be a phenomenal athlete, but if you don't have the that mind to be able to do it, the mindset to step in where everyone's watching you. And having her talk about that was for me, it was an interesting insight.
You talk about emotion. I started to feel it when she talked about representing Canada and being on the podium and hearing the anthem.
Yes.
There just cannot be a greater feeling in sports than that. An amazing career, and you talk about accomplishments: Olympic champion, world champion, mom, wife, lawyer, author. Parents must be so disappointed.
Yeah,
it's just I get up and go to work, and I'm like, yes, nailed it.
No, just make it to the office is enough, 100%. But even when she talked about, she has all her Canada jackets, right, with her name on the back. I mean, that's a phenomenal thing. It was great for her. We appreciate her squeezing in. She's very busy. Obviously, she was in the car. We made a joke. The last guest we had in the car was the ex-OPP officer talking about auto theft.
Brian Gast, yeah.
Yeah, so especially on a hot day, for her to spend the time in the car like that, very much appreciated.
All right, the book is called Rockstar: My Life on and Off the Ice. It is available through HarperCollins, and it comes out on the 26th, so make sure you get yours. Okay, I think we made it across the hog line.
Yes, sir.
Put a bow, and we should mention, off next week.
Yes.
You had holidays? I'm going to take a few.
We had such a great week. We're going to take another week off. Remember, this is a soft launch. We've been soft launching all summer. The big launch is in September. We have a lot more to say about that and some exciting guests coming up as well.
A perfect time to get caught up on past episodes, and you can do just that at closerlookpodcast.ca. Subscribe if you like, if YouTube is your thing, at Closer Look Podcast. And as always, email is always wide open, closerlook@villagemedia.ca. For Michael Friscolanti, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Have a great weekend, a great week. We'll see you in 7 days' time right here on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.